Hi there, welcome back to the channel and thank you for joining me once again. So today we have got another one of these amazing Wingnut Wings classic, you could call them vintage kits almost now. Obviously the company's been out of business for over a year, and they're quite hard to get hold of. And before we get into the kit, actually, I'll talk about the aircraft. Let me just tell you something about availability. There's something I want to show you that's quite interesting about this kit. This one is the LVG C.VI, which is a area reconnaissance and artillery spotting aircraft that was brought in right at the end of the First World War. It first flew in February 18, I think it was, and probably didn't come into service until the summer of 2018, by which time there was only a few months of the war left before the armistice kicked in November. Plane went on to be very successful after the war. Actually, they sold like hotcakes all over the world as civil aircraft. But anyway, just regarding the kit, and we've talked about Wingnut Wings and the silly prices, I've actually got here the original invoice for this kit. Now I've taken off the private information about who it went to and who bought it and who sold it and all the rest of it. But just have a look at this. So this is the original invoice, and it's dated November 2010. Wingnut Wings official invoice. Ignore this bit, this is where I've just blanked it off, just ignore that. But what you're looking at that's very interesting is this. This is a United Kingdom invoice. It's invoiced in US dollars. 79 US dollars is what it cost. 79 US dollars, okay? Wingnut Wings, Miramar, Wellington, New Zealand. So, $79 was the going price. I just did a quick calculation before coming back on air, so to speak, and it's about 55 British pounds sterling. 55 pounds. Now you'd be lucky to get this for 4 times that today. I think if you got it for under £200 you'd be doing very well. This particular one is a mint example as well, lovely, unopened. There are some challenges today because even the instructions are, I'm afraid, bagged, and we can't open the bags for obvious reasons. It's going to be worth £200 to £250 in my view. So we're going to get around that though. I'll find another way. I'll find another way to show you those instructions, because the instructions are part of the joy of Wingnut Wings, really. It's part of their appeal. So without further ado, let's have a closer look, bring you in for a zoom. Now, I said it's a reconnaissance and artillery spotting aircraft, but it hasn't stopped these Germans that are flying this one to really getting involved. I mean, you can see the gunner at the back is actually hurling a potato masher German stick grenade down onto the trenches, and there are some poor cowering British Tommies, if you look carefully, oops, by the way, cowering British Tommies running for their lives under this onslaught from above. So yeah, they were quite a good aircraft. It does say on the side here, we've got a full blurb, I'll just show you this. I won't read it word for word, but it basically says it was had a very high rate of climb, great performance. It was a very popular aircraft, which is why they were able to sell it to different countries after the war was over and the armistice kicked in. They obviously had just started making many of these, and the fact that they were able to sell them was probably quite helpful to the German economy, which was in a real terrible state, obviously, because of war reparations. Anyway, we have here quite a few different versions in terms of schemes, all 1918 as you can see. Got brown and grey, brown and green. We've got checkerboard style, we've got looks like a coppery sort of looking one, more coppery looking one at the end. So you've got quite a few options. Anyway, without further ado, let's have a look what we got inside the kit. I can never get over how beautiful they make the kit with the foiling. They put hot foil down here, beautiful silver lettering, you know, it looks so superb. They just went the extra mile, didn't they, Wingnut Wings? That's why we miss them so much, really. So, bit of news this week, of course. Kitty Hawk, the Chinese manufacturer, apparently closing down the business. No great explanation seems to have been given. They're not one of my personal favourite manufacturers. I think they all seem to have issues with their kits, but nevertheless, they did do some interesting subjects and some quite a good range of stuff that other people didn't cover. So it's a bit of a shame, isn't it? Whether that's because of COVID or some other reason, I don't know. Personally, I think that, you know, if you're producing kits that people are very critical of all the time, and their instructions are absolutely terrible, abysmal, frankly, and some of the fit and finish on their kits wasn't always great either. And that will get you a reputation that you don't want, you know. And this is exactly why Wingnut Wings should have succeeded, because they didn't have that problem at all. I mean, these guys they were on fire in terms of quality. You know, they were the best in the world, quite frankly. Whoops, clear parts here. That's what's the shame about Wingnut Wings. It wasn't a bad product. It wasn't. Nobody criticises them. You know, what's there not to like apart from the price? Anyway, there we go. That's kitty book. So to start off, we have got, as I mentioned, the instructions. So we're going to have a little audio-visual presentation because, as you can see, that is totally sealed. Do not open until the year 3000 AD, isn't it? But we don't want to obviously affect the value of the kit. It's something that's quite rare now, so we'll pop that safely away. We'll have a look at the decals, and then we'll have a look at the presentation of the instructions. Now, this is another one that's got this lozenge camo option. So you've got these lozenge decals. Sorry, I'm going to say. Somebody told me off about this. I think I mentioned it the other day. Somebody told me off about this, saying you don't say it right. It's decals, and he quoted from the French. Did explain it, and I've forgotten the explanation, but I'm sure it was right. So I've been corrected. So it's decals, okay? Decals. Right. So here you can see this lozenge design, and obviously we've got many German crosses. So you've got both types: the straight cross and the Christian cross. What they call it, Jagerkreuz, was it? And then you've got some quite interesting graphics actually here. Some quite elaborate looking lettering and stuff. That's quite nice, isn't it? Eleanor, is that? Eleanor. Checkerboards, all sorts of things going on there. Again, can't really open that because it's sealed. But we've got some nice photo etch here. The camera will just focus for us. Come on, you can do it. There we go. So Wingnut Wings, photo etch, basically the belts and straps. So that is that. Now then, let's show you these instructions that we can't see. There's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. As we say in the UK, sometimes there's more than one way to skin a cat. So let's just get this going for you. Now then. Get rid of that. Now then. What have we got here? So I'll move this, get the optimal sort of angle if I can. So you can see these instructions, and it says sold out, which is isn't that just the truth? Huh? One way of putting it. So instructions. Here we go. And we do it sort of a page by page basis where it loads. Obviously there's cover sheet, and then usual thing, we've got the colour callouts, and they have it with Tamiya and Humbrol and who's the other one? I can't actually see. You can probably see better than I can. Who is it? Mr. Kit? I don't know that one. Must be one for the States. Sorry, I don't know that one. And then we have the start of the instructions there. So we've got the showing you the lozenge. You can see here what I've just been talking about on these decals. There they are. You've got all those different designs are actually covered, so it's all in the form of a decal. Then we have, oops, try not to duplicate, I can avoid it. Then we start off with your proper instructions, and here we have it. So we've got the seat and your control stick, and it looks like a very comfy chair, sat very high up, isn't it? It's oh yeah, we've got the hang of this now. So we've got this lovely comfy chair sat high up. Then you've got that going into your onto your cockpit floor, and you've got the bulkheads coming in, putting your belts on. Then we have these bulkheads with you've got the front one with the instruments sort of fixed into it, so that's got to go in there. So here. Then we have, I'm just wondering, they've done this portrait, haven't they? So I wonder if I put this portrait, if we can actually, yes, there we go. Is that going to be better for us? I think it is. Let me just come back a bit on this. I'm going to get a bit more clarity. There we go. Struggling to decide the best way of doing it for you. I think that's okay. That's it. Now then, that's better. So there we go. So then we've got the all your bulkheads coming in. You're putting in your restraining harnesses, your gun drum, ammunition drums, Then you've got to have some rigging coming in. Then we have wireless radio in the fuselage. Got 1 or 2 holes to drill for access. And then we're onto the engine. So it's the Benz B4, which we've seen before in several of these Wingnut Wings kits. See all the cylinders. You've got your valves, con rods, sorry, the push rods I should say. And then there's some nice photos here to help it. Just stay zoomed, damn you. Right, I'll cheat, I'll do it this way. We've got these push rods and you've got a finished engine there, which I think is in the Museum of, in Canada? Can't quite make that out. Okay. Then, where are we up to? Yep, so then we're doing the wings. There we go. Putting your wing, top wing and lower wing. Ailerons going in there. Got some rigging, you've got your struts, interplane struts. Then we have got exhaust, and this is this, what was the other aircraft that had this? Was it the, one of the Fokkers I think had it? It has this very tall chimney-like exhaust system, which is interesting. That's one way of putting it, you know, a little bit odd perhaps. Doing your props. It says here, close-up of the showing the exhaust detail. Yeah, so you've got the manifold and it all stands up like a huge chimney. It's not very aerodynamic, I've got to say. Quite draggy I would have thought, but anyway. And then there's a picture here of the actual aircraft finished, a real aircraft, I should say. I won't turn this on its side because it's going to cause mayhem, but you can see that this has got quite a bit of rigging that you're going to have to tackle. And the Parabellum LMG 14/17 machine gun, which as you can see also goes on a ring. One Parabellum's got a sight, like a telescopic sight, the other one's just open sights with a rotating ring for the gunner and ammunition drum. And then we've got some excellent photographs of the Parabellum there. Whoops. And you can see it's quite a meaty looking weapon, isn't it? Nasty. And then we've got some lovely World War I genuine photographs of the actual aircraft. It says here Eleanor with Lieutenant Weimar and Lieutenant Hasselhoff getting a helping hand before their mission on the 18th of September 1918. Of interest is the added sliding lid over the compartment to the rear of the observation cockpit, which is there, sliding cover, and the rack on the side of the fuselage. The rack. Not seeing the rack. That's Mr. Rock. Also note the tape ring along the edges along the fuselage. You can see the tape. Yeah. Another shot here. It says Lieutenant Weimar striking a pose on the other side of the LVG C.VI, displaying the name Mia, possibly the name of a loved one. Of note here is the vast array of racks amassed below the observer's cockpit and a generator dynamo attached to the starboard undercarriage leg. Generator. Yeah, here, dynamo. Okay. So they're generating electricity as it runs along the ground as well, on the look of it. Okay. Then you're getting into your, I think your bracelet, you know, the construction's finished, and you've got these various different versions. You've got this one, you've got several different options. Why is it doing that? Sorry. There we go. better. Several different colour schemes and options. And that's your option showing clearly showing this lozenge style camo. And this is the one that's got the checkerboard style here. Another one. It's got like a grey top wing, isn't it? Grey but with flecks in it, so it's quite nice actually. It's quite unusual. It's not like the early war stuff, that's for sure. And here we've got another one with this sort of a coppery tone style to it. This is Eleanor. There's pictures of it, actually, the actual aircraft. Last minute pre-flight briefing. Oof, good luck. Now here we've got some wood grain painting going. Now then, this looks good. This looks very useful. Equipment needed shown. You're going to need some oil paints, burnt umber oil paint, and you're going to wipe it on with a bit of like a household sponge that you use in the kitchen, and then you're going to wipe it on with that, and then you're going to dry brush it up and down to try and get the wood grain effect, to try and make a fine wood grain. That's really good, isn't it, from Wingnut Wings? It's just reminded me, I actually have a leaflet here which I'm going to talk about. I keep forgetting to mention it. Today we will talk about it. It's a tips guide from Wingnut Wings, which we'll come to in a second. And then they're going talking about this and the real. Whoops. Sorry, a little bit of trouble there. On the real aircraft, you can see that. Can't see, can you? Here we go. On the real aircraft, as I was saying, you can see the actual effect of this wooden grain of the real thing. Of course, this is very heavily weathered just because of the age of it now. So this is when you have to be careful. You don't necessarily take any notice of what's in the museum because they won't look today as they look then, just because of their age, really. And here's some examples of restored one, actually. The Shuttleworth collection in England, near Bedford in the UK. And they have one. They have one indeed. It looks beautiful, I have to say. That looks really nice, and obviously that's been the one of the ones it's been based on. I've been to the Shuttleworth collection. I can strongly recommend it for any tourists that are coming to the UK. You should, if you're interested in this subject, you should definitely get to the Shuttleworth collection. It's brilliant. They've got all sorts there. They've got all sorts of World War I aircraft. They specialise in that. That's the sort of central point for this kind of heritage in Britain. Then we have one or two more of the old in-theatre photos. Done it again. Done it again, haven't I? It's just not the best way, is it, this? Right, we saw that. We saw that. Yes. This is the one we're after. Showing these chaps. There we are. That's it. That's it. Now then, just showing them getting ready for a mission, and then there's some graphics, and then finally, as typical Wingnut Wings, we have a couple of final photos, and then credit to all these great engineers and designers that made it all possible. Anyway, I'm glad we got through that because that was a little bit difficult, wasn't it? So, but I wanted to show you this because it's very germane. Wingnut Wings. It's the Advanced Modelling Hints and Tips Guide that they used to give out as a leaflet, which is free. And it's talking about using PVA glues, painting tips. There's quite a bit of info about. Sorry, I've got a stain on here from some paint actually. And they're talking about lighting effects, how to create the see-through effect when you've got stretched fabric on these World War I aircraft, and how the light shines through in certain places and how to recreate it. Very, very useful, this. Brilliant, guys. Now, whether you can still get this anywhere, I don't know, but yeah, maybe I should copy it and, I don't know, republish it or something. I might get into copyright trouble, so we don't want to do that. So here we have, talk about rib tapes and things like that. Realism and weathering, how to make the oil streaks look real underneath. All sorts of things, how your decals should look, and rigging advice as well. So it's only a little leaflet, but it's very, very handy. And I say, I've had this actually stuck to my notice board for some time. When I get round to one of my Wingnut Wings, probably the camel, I'm going to do that. Now then, enough of all the chit chat, let's have a look at some sprues, but we can't get them out of this side. So we're going to kill some of the lighting, because it just makes it too reflecty. And we're going to go in close to see what we can see. We've got some really nice struts here. Look at that. Those are really meaty, aren't they? They're cool. And this is what I was talking about, all these fine vents that are on the side of the aircraft. Look at this. There's lots and lots and lots of them. Those are really beautifully moulded. I'm not sure what these are. I think they're part of the struts, aren't they? There's quite a lot of them. Those are very fine. On the wrong side, it's not helping us actually. See it on this side instead. Okay, you've got the front end of the plane there, the nose. The spinner would sit on the front of it. You've got all your struts here. And again, the moulding quality here is just knocks it out of the park. It's as good as anything you'll ever see from Zokimura or, you know, from Tamiya. Easily as good, if not better than those guys. Here's that rather odd exhaust system. It's like a big tower, huge exhaust manifold, and there's various little tiny bits and bobs. We've got the machine gun here, the Spandau machine gun, and of course there'll be some photo etch, I think, that wraps around that. There's the option of photo etch to go around it to create the cooling jacket. And is that the rudders? No, not the rudders. Elevators? Elevators, I think. I think they were going in the direction of elevators at the time this came out, instead of just having an entire tailplane moving. Then we've got the fairly familiar Daimler-Benz engine. There we go. The less familiar is this sort of exhaust manifold cover. I think it's a heat guard actually, that. You don't burn the fingers on it. But again, you've got this fantastic detail. Look at the cylinders here. It's absolutely incredible. That's really stunning. Beautiful, beautiful work. And you can see the actual inlets. You've got the parabellum sprue at the other end as well, with all the machine guns on it. Optional ones. Standard Wingnut Wings parabellum sprue, that. That's beautifully moulded. It's just exquisite there, isn't it? Everything's so spot on, you know. That's nice. And we've now got a much bigger sprue, which has got the fuselage sides on it. So here we go. This has got all these little vents I mentioned, which have to go into all these little recesses here. There we are. And then we've got the top of the sort of canopy area, the cockpit area. This is where the ring goes for the gunner, so the pilot sits here and the gunner sits here. The ring goes around with the machine gun. Here we've got the two different variants of the propeller blade. I think you'll only use one in this case. And then we also have creeping in here another machine gun. Can you see that? There. Yeah. Gorgeous. And there's no warped parts, you know. Meng, are you listening? I keep saying this, no, I'm repeating myself here, but There's none of these sprues are warped. Everything is as flat as a pancake. Absolute perfection, quite frankly. Superb. And now we get onto the wings. As we are appropriately talking about Ming and their warped wings on the DR1. Look at this. They're warping here. It's just gorgeous. Look at that. So you've got a stretch skin effect. Absolutely superb. Flawless. Flawless. Got all the ribs. You can see all the little it's got all the little fastenings that fasten the canvas. We can make that out with the film. Yes, I think we can. Isn't that nice? Yeah. And you've got your tail plane here. It's just a lovely, lovely sprue. Obviously got the wheels and tyres here. Don't forget folks, the tyres should not be black, they should be grey. Not far off the plastic colour actually. Correct colour. And then last but not least, oh no we haven't, sorry, we've got some clear parts. Hold on, get ahead of myself. Clear parts, little tiny visor for the pilot. And a lovely little bag. I just remember to put it in a bag this time. Last one I reviewed it was out of the bag. One was in, one was out. And then finally we've got this huge wings. How many wings does this thing have? Just trying to oh okay, it's just, yeah, that was, I think that was the top wing and this is kind of the bottom wing. And that what's going on here is it's actually in halves, so it's top and bottom. You glue them together, so that's what this is all about. So we've got again the same beautiful sort of finesse to it, you know, you can see the qualities there. Yeah, it's really, really nice, isn't it? That? Superb. And one or two other little parts like the elevator here. I think somebody's cutting the grass. That's the end of it. Elevator there, and you've got your rudder. Oops, rudder there. So there we go. That is the kit. So that's the Wingnut Wings LVG C.VI, well up to their usual standard. Sorry I couldn't show the instructions in the normal way, that made it a bit awkward, but beautiful thing, you know, very valuable item, not something we can damage or depreciate by opening the bag. So it's a classic, that. It's in mint condition, beautiful model, 10 out of 10, no question. Thumbs up from me. Hope I get a thumbs up from you. And if you haven't joined the channel already and you haven't subscribed, then you should do, because then you'll get fairly early warning of any forthcoming vids. If you are a regular subscriber and watcher, then make sure you ding the notification bell, and that way you'll get early warning of any up and coming vids in the near future. And there's one or two others still to come in the not too distant. So thank you for joining me. In the meantime, till we meet again, thanks ever so much for your company. Hope you find it interesting and enjoyable. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.